Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this hat, which is of course inspired by Portia from White Lotus. I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen the show and you have probably seen Portia wearing a hat very similar to this. So if you are interested in making this hat, please just keep on watching. Now before we jump into it, I just want to go through some yarn requirements. So I am using Maker's A Blend Moment yarn in the colour Jasper. Now this is an acrylic cotton blend yarn. I would recommend using either a cotton blend or a 100% cotton for this pattern. This is an 8-ply or a DK weight, but you could customize this hat to suit pretty much any weight yarn. And the best thing about this hat is you need less than one skein. So this is a one skein wonder. I used less than 100 grams of yarn for this hat, but without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, so to get started, you are of course going to need your yarn. I'm using Maker's A Blend Moment yarn in the colour Jasper and a 5mm crochet hook. You are also going to need one stitch marker in just a moment, so just keep that handy for now. To get started, you're just going to take the end of your yarn and we are going to complete a magic circle. Now if you aren't familiar or aren't comfortable with the magic circle, you can chain 4 and join to make a loop if you would prefer. Okay, so I've just completed a magic circle and chained 1 to keep it in place. That chain 1 won't count as a stitch. Now what you want to do is complete 8 half double crochet into the center of this loop. Once you've done that, you probably have something that looks a little bit like this. Now what we're going to do is pull this tail to tighten up that loop and close that hole. So it should now be looking more like this. Now this is where our stitch marker will come into play. We want to place our marker in that last stitch that we completed to mark the end of our round, because we're now going to be working in a spiral, so it will be hard to keep track of where your rounds start. So that's why we're placing that marker in that last stitch, so we know once we get to that stitch marker, that's the end of the round. So now we want to complete an increase round, so that just means we're going to be completing 2 half double crochet in every stitch all the way around. Here I am at my stitch marker, so I'm just going to remove that just for a second while we complete our last 2 half double crochets. And now I'm going to place it back in that very last stitch. So you should now have a stitch count of 16, which is obviously double what we started with. And from this point on, we will be increasing by a stitch count of 8 per row. So now what we're going to do is half double crochet in that next stitch. And then we're going to increase. So completing 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, followed by 2 half double crochets or an increase in the next stitch, and just repeating that all the way around. All right, here I am back at my stitch marker. So just removing that once again and completing our last increase. So our last 2 half double crochets and placing that marker back in that last stitch. So now we're going to continue with another increase round, but this time instead of starting with a single half double crochet, we're going to start with our increase. So we're going to start with 2 half double crochets in that first stitch. And this will alternate throughout the remainder of the increase rounds. And the reason for this is because we don't want to stack our increases on top of each other. That will give us a hexagon looking shape and not a nice round circle. So we're going to stagger our increases so they're not sitting directly on top of each other. Okay, so basically the easiest way to remember what you want to start with is whatever you finished your previous round with. So for the last round, I finished with an increase. So I now know that I need to start this round with an increase. If I was to finish on a single half double crochet, I would know that I need to start the next round with a single half double crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and start with an increase. So 2 half double crochets in that first stitch. Now we want to complete 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 half double crochet followed by another half double crochet, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. So it'll be increase, half double crochet, increase, half double crochet, all the way around. Okay, so that round is now complete. So we're now going to be completing 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches followed by an increase. So 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet, and now we're increasing, so we're completing 2 half double crochets in that next stitch. And we're just going to repeat that once again all the way around until we get back here to our stitch marker. Now I'm going to go ahead and complete all of my increase rounds now. They all work exactly the same as what we've just been doing. The only difference is, like I mentioned, we're going to be alternating if we start on an increase or a single half double crochet. And we're going to be increasing the amount of stitches in between increases by 1 every round. So you want to repeat your increase rounds until you have 6 half double crochets in between increases. Okay, so at the moment for this round that we're about to complete, we have 3 stitches in between increases, but we want to repeat that increase round until we have 6 half double crochets in between our increases. Hopefully that all makes sense to you. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off all my increase rounds, and I will meet you back here. All right, so here I am at the end of my increase rounds. You should have something that's looking a little bit like this. Now, I should have probably mentioned earlier that this hat can be made in any size. What I've done here is pretty much for a one size fits most adult sized hat, but if you wanted to make it for a child, or if you needed to make it bigger, then you could easily do that just by altering how many increase rounds you do. So obviously if you wanted to make it smaller, you would do less increase rounds. If you wanted to make it bigger, you would do more increase rounds. But like I said, today I'm just doing a one size fits most adults kind of size. So now what we're going to do is start working on the sides of our hat, and how we're going to do that is very, very simple. All you want to do now is continue working around and around in a spiral just like we have been, but we're not going to be increasing anymore. So all we're going to do is complete 1 half double crochet in every stitch all the way around. Here I am at the end of that round. I'm now just going to repeat that until I have reached my desired depth. So you're just going to keep going around and around until your hat is as long as you want it to be. So I will let you know once I've finished mine how long mine is if you want to follow along with those measurements. But otherwise, you can just try it on as you go. As you complete more rounds, your hat will start taking shape, so you'll actually be able to put it on your head and see if it's fitting okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish off those rounds now, and I will meet you back here. All right, so here I am at the end of my rounds. I'm happy with the depth of my hat. As promised, I am going to measure it and tell you guys what the depth is. So mine is measuring about 15.5 centimeters in depth. But again, if you wanted to make it smaller, you would just complete less rounds. And if you wanted to make it longer, you would complete more rounds. Again, easily customizable to your sizing. So now what we need to do is start on our brim. So now what we want to do for this next round is increase. So we're going to go back to increasing, but this time we're going to be increasing in every single stitch. So you want to complete 2 half double crochets in every stitch all the way around. All right, here I am at the end of my increase round. So your stitch count will have doubled. Now, it might not look like much yet, but as we keep working, we're going to get that beautiful wavy brim, just like Portia's hat. Now, if you do look at Portia's hat, you'll notice that the brim's not super big, so we've only got a few more rounds left to achieve the same look as Portia's hat. Again, if you wanted to make this brim bigger or even smaller, just complete more or less rounds. Easy as. So now all we're going to do is continue with 1 half double crochet in every stitch all the way around, repeating that round until we achieve our desired brim length, and then we are done. All right, here I am at the end of my brim. I've just completed my last stitch. Now to finish this off, I'm just going to slip stitch into that next stitch and fasten off. Just pulling that end through and tying it off. Now we can remove this stitch marker, of course, because we don't need that anymore. You'll now need to go and sew in your ends, but that will take 2 seconds. And that is your hat complete. This is what it should look like. Well guys, that wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please come and join the Talk Yarny to Me Facebook group. I would absolutely love to see you there. And I would also love if you would subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications so you will be notified of all my future videos. But until next time, stay safe, be kind, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!